Here, and welcome to 2019, another episode of That Crypto Hustle. I'm here with Sean Donato, who is the founder of Opti Token. How's it going, Sean? Happy New Year!
Happy New Year! Yes, it's well. How are you?
Good. Excited to be back in the game. And, today's a very special day, actually. It's the 10-year anniversary of Bitcoin. This is what was it exactly? So this is when the lines of codes known as Genesis block were actually executed. And then actually on January 12th is when the first transaction was made between Nakamoto to Hal Finney. Did you know this?
What? This was transaction day?
Uh-huh.
No, I didn't. I knew it was, I didn't know exactly what the, I know it's, proof of keys day and then it's, anniversary, but I didn't know exactly, I guess, what happened this day. Whether it was the idea or code or what. So.
Yeah, so it's crazy. It's already been 10 years. Bitcoin's been around and just more proof, personally, for me, that it's not going anywhere. And I keep on reading different people hating on crypto, especially on Facebook and different entrepreneurs that I follow, just saying like, oh, everyone who jumped in the crypto bandwagon, oh, boo, you're trying to, what's it called? Trying to chase the dragon, and you're also, feeling
FOMO?
Yeah, FOMO, and you might want to reconsider other options at this point. I'm like, no, I'm still headstrong into crypto. I really believe in it. So, let's look at some of the predictions. Like, what do you think is going to happen in 2019?
Well, I know we've spoke about that 50 months moving average a lot. I think, it's hard for me to say that we already hit the bottom, or that, like, I could easily see us going back, and retesting that area. I have trouble seeing it break down. I really think there's a lot of money that comes in as we approach 3,000. Here's the thing. It's like Bitcoin's potential disruption is so large. It's so big that it could destroy certain industries, like banking and stuff. And so, the clear way to hedge against that is to own a lot of Bitcoin. Mm-hmm. And so, that's why banks buy it, Also, they can day trade it or, position trade it and profit off it. Mm-hmm. So the thing is they can't really try to time the bottom. They can't wait and say, hey, it's going to go to 1,300, it's going to go to 2,000. So typically, institutions, stuff like that, will kind of pick accumulation levels and just start accumulating. And it's heavy accumulation, and the cheaper Bitcoin gets, the easier it is to to buy, amounts of money start buying more. So the easier it is to kind of support the price in a sense, right? Like if Bitcoin's $1, I could probably support the market. You could, you know what I mean? Right? Because we're going to be buying all, So, that being said, around maybe 3,000-ish is like, in the lower 3,000s is kind of like banks can really do a lot to, and that's just banks. I'm not sure who else is at play. It's pretty easy to identify, a motive for that type of institution at that level. It could go lower, but also is we have, the market's really exhausted on the sell side still. These moves can only be so strong at a time. Short of if there was some kind of fundamental damage to Bitcoin, like some kind of a global ban or something, then the story differs. But there's nothing like that happened. So since that's the case, you know, a move up or down tends to only have so much strength to it. So it's still pretty exhausted if you look at like the bigger time frames.
What do you mean by bigger time frames?
Like the monthly charts, 3-month chart, weekly chart, stuff like that. It's still pretty oversold. We can take a look at those. I want to also try to talk about time frames. I'm trying to find a tool for something very cool called Fibonacci time zones. I did not find that on TradingView. Maybe I should make one. That would be a good idea.
What does that do?
Fibonacci time zones. I mean, really, we don't even need a chart to do it, but you know, the Fibonacci sequence is proven to be relevant in many different ways in finance. It's not a perfect tool, but for some reason it has a relevance. And so basically, anything we can quantify, we can seek to find patterns using those Fibonacci sequences. Well, time is certainly quantifiable, and so, you know, as opposed to using price and Fibonacci levels, we're looking at time instead and looking at the days, like or weeks, which is probably more relevant. So we're looking at 1, 1, 2. Let's see. 1, 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 13, 21, 34, etc. What the Fibonacci sequence is essentially is you're taking the next number in a sequence is the addition of the two priors, right? Mm-hmm. So we start off with 1 plus and 1. 1 and 1 is 2. So we're looking at...
Sorry.
And then 1 and 2 is 3.
Mm-hmm.
2 and 3 is 5. 3 and 5 is 8. Do you see what I'm saying? It's really pretty simple.
So you're using that to kind of better predict your trades. You've been liking that better than other methods.
Well, you're talking about 2019, and you know how can we look to the future and see what you know, how can we look at time frames? Because it's one thing to look at like a price prediction, but it's another thing to say when that's going to happen, right?
Oh yeah, got it.
So with Bitcoin price, we have, as a trader, I have two things that I want to find out, and that's future price and when that price will be that future price.
Got it.
Right? I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but I'm pretty sure that I spoke about it on the show with you, that I could easily see 3,000 kind of acting the way 6,000 acted, where we were just sideways for a while. There wasn't a ton of buy pressure, new buyers coming in and buy volume coming in to push the price up to new levels. But at the same time, there's accumulation happening on the lower end, or there was price in 6,000 level. I had a theory that the miners were supporting the price heavily and mostly, and that was because they had incentive to do so, because their mining operations are more profitable. At this level, I'm not sure. It could be a different reason. It could be that, my theory at this level is now some banks and institutions are accumulating, and that could act in the same fashion. I don't think that it's like the miners out really anymore. I don't know if they have the balance books to go out and just make that a part of their operations is to support the price of Bitcoin. I don't think that's they don't have the balance sheets for that. So that being said, I could see that being the scenario as well, where we're sideways in between maybe 3,000 and 4,000, 3,000, 5,000, or 3,500 and 5,000, something like that.
Okay. So let's look at the charts.
Okay. Let me share a screen.
Yeah. We lost Sean again. Sean, where are you? Sorry about that. Skype is not great when it comes to doing these lives. All right, let's try this again. Hey, Sean.
Sorry about that. I think when I was trying to share a screen, Skype shut down.
No worries.
Let me share my screen. So, are you going to do proof of keys today? Anything with that?
Yeah, we can talk about that as well. Here, sharing your first full screen.
I don't know if I really have enough time to play with it, but so can you see my screen?
Yeah.
All right. So, I put something on, and these are Fibonacci ribbons. And essentially, I had never played with them, and we can just try to play with them together right now, though.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, I was looking, they have a correlation to time, according to TradingView, but I'm not sure if they have a correlation to the Fibonacci time zones, which is something that we were just talking about. So I guess our goal today will be to see if that is a thing.
Mm-hmm.
We're on the day chart on Bitstamp, and we want to figure out what 2019 may look like. So, just looking at this tool alone is kind of interesting. Let's look a little further too.
How further out are you going?
Well, right now we're looking just into 2017.
Got it. So 2
between
years
2017
out.
and 2019.
Yeah.
They seem to be in line when the market is relatively stable, I guess you could say, price-wise. And then they seem to diverge on a breakout, and then again on a fall. So the question is, which one comes first, the chicken or the egg? Because we see right here a propensity for what it looks like another convergence.
Mm-hmm.
That's what that looks like to me right here. So the question is how does this tool perform over time? Is that what it means? Because I'm just looking at it for the first time too with you guys. And if so, does that mean that around this time frame, we can expect some kind of stabilization of price? Because if so, that would concur with the idea that 2019 is sideways. And I've also heard people talking about that as well. But we already talked about how 3,000 could look like 6,000 like a week or two ago.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty sure we were the first people to talk about that. And I'm just saying that's just the truth. Look at the past few shows we did. So.
Yeah, so we're going to be in the 3,000 range for a while.
That's very
very likely.
I mean, it's an argument we could definitely make.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see what exactly this price level is. So, what's interesting is at the end of when this all converges again, it looks to be around March.
Mm-hmm.
What we can do is do a follow up about this, and I can basically loop back and let you know what I found out about this tool and what it has to do with time and price and its correlation with those. Because if I were to sometimes you just look at a tool and you say, hey, that kind of looks like what it does. And more often than not, like that probably is what it does. You know what I mean? It's not like these tools are made to help us, not to like fool us. But at the same time, they can be misinterpreted, of course. These numbers right here seem to just be, well, see, the current price we're using Bitstamp is $37.85. So another question we have is, what are these prices?
And you're looking at that red curve, correct? That's what you're looking at.
Well, all right, let me show you exactly what I'm looking at. I'm going to hide it and then bring it back.
Perfect.
Oops, that's volume, I'm sorry. Here we go.
Yeah, the curves got it. Yep.
While I have it away, we can look at what Bitcoin's doing right now. It seems to be going to test the. Can
you zoom in a little bit more, just so we can see?
Yeah. Sorry about that.
No, it's all right.
That's the 50-day moving average that Bitcoin just bumped its head on.
Yeah.
And the 50-day moving average is no pump. You know what I mean? Like the 20-day moving average is a little bit of a punk. You can push them around. You can go through them a lot easier, as you can see right here.
Mm-hmm.
But the 50-day moving average, he's a bigger bully. So, or he can be a better friend if we're on the support side. But that's typically pretty bearish by and as of itself, and it doesn't. But it's not really a long-term indicator. But short-term, I would not be surprised if we corrected some as to what if we had a little move down. I'm not sure where. Probably not too extreme. But yeah, a little move down, probably to a support level around 3,500. So, but that's a different story. Let's get back to the fans. Or the ribbons. So now I'm going to unhide it. And here they are back.
Mm-hmm.
So, why these expand and contract? I'm not exactly. That's what we have to look at. Does it have something to do with price volatility,
mm-hmm.
price movement from an average? It kind of finds divergence from that. That's probably likely. And then what does the latter parts mean? Is that what are they? Is it a time for? Okay, here we go. So it looks like what these correlate with. It looks like is Fibonacci ratios. The golden ratio is, I believe, it's like 0.6. I'll have to look. I'm sorry. I'm a little rusty on that. I usually use the number end and not the fraction end. But I believe it's like 0.62 something. But it might be this one right here. I apologize for that. Let's actually look it up. I always forget what it is. And what's interesting about the golden ratio is they say it appears in nature a lot.
Mm-hmm.
You ever heard that?
Yeah, I have.
And unsurprisingly, it also appears in finance a really lot.
Interesting.
I'm sorry, it's 1.61.
1.61. 8. Okay.
And then it continues on, but yeah. So I don't even see that. It's okay. These are all numbers that kind of correlate with that in the terms of they all interact with each other in the same way I talked about how 1, 1, 2, 3, 5. So they're all kind of fractions of the ones before. Very interesting tool here. Yeah, this is going to be interesting to look at. I'm really excited to kind of study this tool more. But I'm really curious to see if this is kind of what it's pointing at, is that, does this imply more volatility, more price action up to around here and then a smoothing out? Does this imply from where we are here where price may end up around here? I'm not exactly sure what it's implying here. But I would suffice to say that we end up around, and what's funny is it seems to end right around this number they're highlighting here, which is 38.51. So, that being said...
And it's crazy that it's pointing to the fact that this could last until March.
It's very crazy because another thing that's pointing to that is Tom DeMark Sequentials, which is an awesome tool. It's really popular now. I've only been using it for about 6 months myself.
What is it called? Tom
DeMark Sequentials.
Mm-hmm. What does it do?
Well, it counts. Basically, it's a way to find exhausted trends. And the idea in trading, really a really good idea and framework to kind of start with trading is that nothing's parabolic forever. Parabolic moves are they never last forever. Is the idea kind of? I've yet to see something just can go up forever. And a parabolic move is basically when you can't see my face. So let me draw a parabola. You know what a parabola is now?
Yeah, but just draw it for everyone, for the views.
Yeah, let's see if I can draw it. I don't know if I can draw it with this. Or what I used to draw. I never draw on the charts, really. Drawing mode? No, I don't want to stay in drawing mode. Let's see here. Brush?
We're challenging you to use all these tools you never use.
No.
Oh, there you go.
Oop. Sorry. That's not... Okay. Stop drawing. All right, let me do that again. It's going to work, though. Here is...
We can see you failed art class in high school.
Here's a parabola, more or less. Right? So, ignore the top part. Just what we need to know is that it's moving straight up. It's a parabolic. Or it increases as time increases, as does the slant. So, basically the idea in finance is there's yet to be an asset that's ever just continue to go up, right?
Yep.
In a straight line. The idea and the theory and really the evidence shows that there's a move back down eventually.
Mm-hmm.
So we can look at stuff like the S&P, and over time, if you looked at moving average, it probably looks semi-parabolic, maybe not quite parabolic, but it's gone up. It's just gone up over time. But in the meantime, there's been huge crashes and depressions and recessions. So, that's kind of the idea of these things. And each time that happens, essentially the charts become exhausted. So, in a sense. Not always. They don't have to really be exhausted, but... I
think it's a positive move if it's maintaining its position at 3,000 for this long. For me, that would indicate that it's only going to go up, especially if it was much lower than that just 2 years ago. I mean, when you showed the chart, the 2-year chart in 2017, it was like in the thousands. So just the fact that if it stabilizes at the 3,000 range, upper 3,000, that's definitely a positive indicator that it's going to continue its progression.
Yeah, it's...
You don't know how to delete it now.
Here's the thing is there's two different ways to buy.
Yeah.
There's market orders and then there's limit orders. Mm-hmm. So a limit order is not really going to help the price move up. And typically... limit order can look like different things. It can be over-the-counter price agreed. Mm-hmm. That's a limit order because it's saying, you're agreeing on a price with somebody.
Yep.
You say, hey, here's what I'm going to pay, and the person says yes or no. Or, somebody is making an offer, essentially. In a market order, they're just taking what there is, they're taking that person's order, or the highest, They're essentially taking if they're buying, they're essentially taking the lowest asking price, or if they're selling, they're taking the highest bid, and not really trying to. They don't have a limit on what they'll pay. So when you have the market orders firing off a lot, or you have people raising how much they're willing to part with their coins for, then you'll have a move up. And the thing is I have a much easier time seeing a lot of limit orders saying, "Hey, I'm a buyer in the low 3,000s, in the mid 3,000s, but I'm not a buyer here at 4,000. We're teetering just above and below 4,000, which is really like a seesaw saying, like, which way do we go, kind of, more or less. So that's the only problem with the argument for going up more from here. Do you see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And, why does that happen? What's Bitcoin worth? It's really hard to, that's trying to discover its price. That's why people are like, when's an ETF? When's this or that? But an ETF, we don't know if that's like, is that priced in? Like, how is that priced in? Because the news about it and, stuff about it's been circulating for a long time. So that could be something that's priced in and holding the price where it's at. We don't really know how it's going to affect it. What's the next thing that's going to move the price higher? And basically that's going to be high demand, and so I think we need something really fundamentally robust to basically kind of come to fruition before that next move up happens, and it'll probably be a few years.
Yeah, probably.
Halving event or something. Does that come later in 2019? I just don't see a huge bull break for a few years.
Really? How many years are you thinking?
Well, I think 2021, personally.
Why so far out?
Well, all I can do is go off of history, and there seems to be a run-up about every 4 years.
Interesting.
I think people who are smart will have their eye on 2021. I think anybody who has their eye in front of that is overly ambitious. I think there's also a possibility that it could come after that. But all we can say is that there's a decent likelihood it will come in that time period, or after. I think is a safer and better investment strategy to take. If I'm looking in front of that time period, then what am I going off of? Because I don't have history doesn't say that it does that, and if anything, over time with assets in general, time frames tend to grow. They don't tend to become shorter. They absolutely could, but it's more often we see these time frames as because we're trying to go into really high levels, right? And so that may take a lot of time to develop. It's easier to see that taking more time than less time, because how soon are people going to come out and say, "Hey, I'm going to pay $30,000 for a Bitcoin"? It doesn't look like it's going to happen this year. I can tell you that much.
Yeah. I
see nothing on the table internationally, economically, that would, give me a cause for concern to say that something like that is going to happen. I guess a huge banking crisis
is on the way as well, so that's not going to help. It could help. Yeah.
No, that would definitely help. But that is something that could cause that positive run-up that we're looking for, but I really don't see it. I don't see it on the forecast. I don't see that. I don't think the banks are in huge trouble. I think, the markets are a little stale right now. S&P had to let off some steam, but I don't really. To the public eye, I don't really see huge cause for concern for things like banks and financial institutions. As far as like a 1 year outlook. So,
all right, let's talk about Ethereum for a brief minute before we let you go. So there is a scheduled fork. They're calling it Constantinople hard fork, which is scheduled to take place on January 16th. That's probably what's been causing sort of the price of Ethereum.
What did you say, January 16th?
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be January 16th. So that's probably what's been causing the price of Ethereum to be on sort of like the downward trend. What do you think about?
It's up.
It's up. Right. Depending on where you look. Yeah, I mean, for today it's down, but like it's up to where you look. What are you comparing it to?
Right. Yeah. Sure. Yeah. Exactly. So yeah, it's down in as far as like over a 3 month, timeline, 6 month timeline, a year timeline, but over a few week.
Let's look at. Can you pull up Ethereum? Are we looking at it now? Okay.
Sorry, I thought I had it, but I must have pulled up the same thing again. And what's funny is I was looking at Ethereum earlier, and I want to short it soon. And the reason being because of Tom DeMark indicators I talked about earlier. I saw a pattern, and I'm always looking for these patterns every day. And that's something I might use in combination with some other indicators to open a position, short or sometimes long. Term, that is. Let me just do that. Sorry. All right. Well, the fans are. Oh, they say March too. March might be relevant. And before you let me go too, let me show something on the month scales that will help everybody, I think.
Why are you saying March is relevant? Because you're seeing the same kind of trend with those curves.
I'll show you. But on this ETH chart, it was converging all at that point as well. So that's kind of interesting. All right. And you know what? I might have to. Okay, I'm on Bitfinex. Oh, that's right. I was on the 12-hour. Interesting. I'm getting... Okay, so this is... Oh, that's a 1 and 2. Okay. That's all right. I'm sorry. I was on the 12-hour earlier, and I saw something that stood out to me. I believe it was a 12. Perhaps it was the 6, maybe. It was a little less relevant time frame-wise, but it might be good for a play soon. Where was that? Bear with me.
Yep, no worries.
Okay. We are approaching a little bit of exhaustion here. Okay. So that's why I was kind of like, when you're talking about being down, I was a little curious. But I understand. I mean, yeah, it's down. It was, and then if you,
it was in the $200, $300 range, and now, I mean, granted, I'm looking at you're right, 6 months margin, 1 year margin. Now we're at 148. So, I mean, I know there's been a lot of issues with the scaling and, like, internal issues between the teams, like Consensus let go of, like, half of its team. Now they're talking about doing a hard fork. So I'm sure it seems like they're trying to figure things out, which probably is affecting the price.
Here's what I knew it was a 12-hour. All right. We are approaching aggressive 13-ish times of an uptrend.
Where do you see that? Can you show us?
In these numbers. Lane. People are just going to have to, like, I just recommend you go out and research Tom DeMark indicators in general. And you can look up Tom DeMark sequentials And that's a really nice indicator to use for both short and long-term, trading, actually. Because, if you want to scale out the time frame, just use it on a bigger chart, like, a month chart, etc. But yeah, if you were looking, I would be wondering the same thing, why the price is dropping. If about a week ago, I was holding ETH when it got up to 163, and then within a few days it was down to around 120 again. 117 is a relevant level, actually. And so yeah, I'd be wondering the same exact thing. Now it's back up, okay. And, okay, here we are again in that same little area. Okay, well, let's look at some stuff, okay? We can look at volume here, which is going to be really helpful. Follow my cursor. Here we had a perfect 9. And look at this volume on the sell side. That is so bearish. Like, that is like... On this 9, and this is a perfect short, actually. It's hard to see every opportunity every time. I definitely didn't see this where I was shorted. Sometimes, like, these things happen, and, like, you're just busy with life, or you're doing other things, and you miss them. I actually am going to be working soon with one of my developers on something that will spot this stuff automatically, and scan different assets for stuff like this. And I'm really excited to get this screener out. Probably will make it available on my TradingView account, which I don't really publish stuff on, but whatever, I publish, I share stuff on YouTube and Telegram. So this
That's awesome.
is an amazing shorting opportunity. Oh my gosh. Well, here we are again. We're going up back to these levels, okay? And now we want to look at the volume, okay? So here we approached it on really nice volume. This is really nice buy volume. This green volume candle is really good. The problem is the wick on top. This is a bearish wick, especially at falling and closing back under this moving average. That's bearish. Now we did get a push the next 12-hour candle. So within the next 12 hours, we got a huge push up, and then lo and behold, this awful wick, and once again, it closed under this moving average. I mean, this is like literally like if you see this close, like this is you can put a freaking you can put a very large position on with a stop loss, maybe splitting the difference, because it's pretty high. I don't think you want to. Ideally, you don't want to go back up above the high of this candle, but that's kind of a long way. But you can really do some, like, you could even just put the close above the moving average a little bit, and have a really safe, a close stop loss, so you have controlled risk as far as your losses, and huge upside on your profits. So yeah. Anyways, so this happened over here with this green candle. This would this candle here and the way this candle closed completely disinvalidates anything that was building up with volume here. Here we have a similar move up to similar levels. We have a nasty wick here. That's not a nice wick, and the volume is like kind of frailing out. The problem, though, is on this little, as on the correction candles, the volume's pretty frail too. So now what we'd like to see here is like some volume like around this level, like a little bit over, like that one, and it'd be like I'm ready to short. But it's not necessarily, I would like to see where the volume closes on this 12-hour candle, which still has about 6 hours left in it.
Yep.
Because basically what volume can mean is that this move is like it's not ready to go down yet, and this is like false indicator. This is it's kind of trying to trick you, more or less, and that could be in play. However, it is coming back down. Like this is like everything is like bearish about this. Like everything is like getting ready to say this is time to short, and it would be very reasonable to seek to short right around this cross. It looks like the 20 wants to cross over the 128-day or 12-hour unit chart, and that could be bullish. So, but yeah, there is some downside here for a short soon, and we'll be seeking to do that. The reason Ethereum keeps dropping is because so many ICOs hold so much of it. So when the price goes back up, they see an opportunity to get out, and
well, and also because they've had a lot of issues as far as scalability and whatnot. And yeah, probably I think they just went in too aggressively last year. You're absolutely right. There were too many depths in the market, and everything is reconfiguring itself this year. Stabilizing itself for the next wave.
You're right.
Awesome. Well, thank you, Sean.
What's up with you? I don't want to talk the whole time. I want to hear what's up with Miss Crypto Hustle.
Crypto Hustle. Well, guys, super excited.
All the insider stuff.
Yeah. Well, no, guys, honestly, we've been laying super low. So time to sort of go back to the drawing board. We're definitely going to bring back the podcast. We're going to continue doing these live with Sean as well, so you guys can have insights. Let's do split screen. Let's see your face on. Perfect. Yeah, so essentially, we're going to continue doing these as well with Sean. Make sure to let us know what type of information you want us to share during these live. If you have any questions as well, I'll make sure to get them from the Facebook groups. And that's pretty much it. So we'll see you next week for sure, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome. And we can sort of go through some of your predictions and kind of see where everything nets out. So thank you so much, everyone, for watching. Super excited to start the new year, 2019. And also super excited just like all the opportunities, you're right, because it's true. Like, I think a lot of individuals in the crypto space are really thinking short term. And you're not the first person who've told me that 2019 would be a sluggish year. But I think for me, and for all of us, should be opportunities to, while no one's watching, to get into the market and knowing that it's just a matter of time. It could be 2 years, it could be 3 years, but just like individuals who were able to cash in big with Bitcoin last year or the year before, 2017, well, these are individuals who probably had, gone into the game anywhere between, 2010 to as late as 2015. So the opportunities are there, and I still really believe in Bitcoin. I don't think it's funny, because, Sean, like throughout the journey and the more I've learned about the crypto space, I've really become more of a Bitcoin maximalist. Just because, I've realized that, it's been there it's one of the cryptocurrencies that's been there the longest. Yeah. And I'm also a really big believer in Ethereum, and I really hope that they're able to resolve all their scalability issues and some of the things that they're dealing with, like, internally. But those are really the two projects I'm really happy about. I know that there's other opportunities with different altcoins, but to be honest, I'm not, I probably should, but I'm not paying attention as much to these other altcoins.
Reasonable. Yeah. That's fair enough.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, thanks for watching. Letting you guys go. Bye.
All right, Miss Lena. Bye, everybody. Check us out on Telegram too, please.
Oh yeah, I'll make sure to include the link as well in the description. Awesome.
Yeah, we do trading stuff on there all the time.
Yay! So. Awesome. Bye, guys.
Bye.